And hello, everybody. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the FrontLines. The FrontLines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. And it's always interesting, now we see peace in the Middle East. We see, the lining up of all of the Democrats around their convention and Trump off and doing hip-hopping onto these little plane jaunts and appearing right in front of their different conventions, and he's just going to be appearing all over the place, going just to the airports, off the next one. So this is his counter. So it's interesting how these things are coming about, and we're all in it. And what we're going to discuss today is how Trump is going to steal the election voting system. Well, a little bit more to that. We're literally going to talk about blockchain technology. That through the use of blockchain, the U.S. Post Office has filed for a patent for a voting system that will keep the person's identity secret and their vote secret, but still maintain that it's one person, one vote, and incorporating a voter ID, a postal voter ID system. And I've actually I found out about this through the X22 report today, which was kind of interesting. So we're going to touch on a bunch of these things, and we're going to go over some of this, and we'll discuss some blockchain technology and why it's really the wave of the future, and what will be happening throughout the world. How this particular type of database system is going to be implemented, right, around the world, and not to get too far down the line, but we're gonna go into some of the other voting things that are going on, fake news, calling elections before they're actually cast, which also has happened just right now with an election coming up right now. So before we get into that, I would like to put out a literal plea for help. I am in need of some donations. I've got my electricity bill and Wi-Fi bill due basically right now, and I have basically just a couple of days to pay it. It's basically about $160 altogether, $180. That need to get covered right away, and my PayPal is down below. My rent is also there. I can push that out a bit, but turning off the electricity and the Wi-Fi basically means I've got no way to contact anyone. I can't leave the house. I was under the increased lockdown has ratcheted back up here in the Philippines again, and cannot leave the house without permission, and I can't even go and get permission. So I do need some help at this point, and we're gonna discuss some how we're all getting into some of this predicament, right? Through our choices to get us here. We're in the battle, right? I decided to really focus on how to make this world a better place, how to get there, how do we create a new financial system. This has been my goal, since my literal, well, I thought about it since I was very young. I literally did things to create the structure for that, starting back in the late 90s, like 98, 99, putting a lot of effort into building that type of system. It's evolved since then. I went into a social media e-commerce platform as well that used biometrics to track individuals. And again, keeping privacy and all of your data owned by you, which I think is of utmost that needs to get done. And this also can be implemented in blockchain. When I designed this other system about 6-7 years ago, blockchain was there, but it wasn't well developed as it is now. And now everything is going to be considering blockchain. And again, it's just a chain of data. It's a way of storage. It's not all about coins and tokens and crypto money, or we'll start calling it cipher money. Cipher, instead of, we don't use that bad word crypt, right? We don't want to make something about death. We make something about life. So we need to focus on how we're going to do that. So, but I need your help to keep this going. Please do what you can. This is my immediate need. Even if I get this paid by tomorrow, everything is fine. It'll start getting late 2 days from now, and then it could be gone. I've spoken with my family. As we suspected, we have major financial issues coming because of COVID. There is a problem that's going across the board. So my family has been helping, but at this point, they don't have it. They can't do anything. So I'm in a predicament. I request your help, and I know that there's other people out there that need help. How do we get past this? How do we get to where the money can flow into our hands? And I think no matter what happens, it's going to take some time, right? So we gotta figure out how we get there. So I need people that want to join and help create. What does a business look like when we're talking about an abundance system? How does it work with the people that are the people to come in to use that business, the people that operate that business, the people that conceive and manage that business? We have to create these structures. We have to look beyond what we've already been doing all this time, right, in this corporate stock system. And the two deals that are being offered us, as I brought up on the World Economic Forum's new plan that they want to bring up, where everyone's a stakeholder, and what that means to be a stakeholder is really just another form of wealth redistribution. What it means is take it away from everybody and leave everyone equal with the bare minimum, except for the rulers who have control over everything, and they get the best of everything. That's communism. That socialism, communism system is the stakeholder position that they're trying to push. It's coming from, again, the same old actors that we're used to dealing with. Right? And we know that the model we have right now, this debt-based system, is the bad system. There's the created problem, and their created solution is gonna be bad. So we have to create our own solution, and that requires you to participate and help. I need people willing to come in and create businesses. The gold green coin is set up and ready to go. It's a system. We have some steps to get to where we need to before it is, let's say, a dynamo on its own, and people are coming in and creating businesses. Coming in and creating business. But what do those businesses look like? So we can talk about that as well. So anyway, let's go right back over to what we were talking about in this new world we have here. And I'm going to make also a comment. So I did see some comments yesterday. People were talking about that there's buffering going on. I cannot help that. I've got great bandwidth. It's my laptop that I have available. It's not capable of putting out what YouTube is looking for, right? And that's why that there's some buffering. That's why I've switched to a system where I just kind of flip over and do this, and then that limits the amount of video, right, that's coming through. And so now it doesn't worry you have to send so much, and then the system will start not buffering, and then we switch over to some other screens. So I'm going to get some things lined up 1 second here so we can start talking about what we're here to talk about. First, I'm going to go over to some second here. I just noticed I had an ad blocker pop up. on one of the sites. They're talking about the U.S. Post Office and what's going on. But first, before we go anywhere, we're going to go over and we're going to talk with Tucker. We're going to see what Tucker has to say here. So this is basically from today, August 18th. Tucker, media goes all in on mailbox conspiracy. So let's listen to a little bit of Tucker. The whole thing is 10 minutes or just a half minute in.
The whole point of a convention is to highlight a party's most popular positions while keeping its crazies hidden from public view. But what if suddenly everyone in the party goes crazy? What if there are no sane people left? Well, then you get what we're seeing right now. Democrats have spent the last week outlining a conspiracy so wicked, so brazen and dangerous it makes Russiagate look like jaywalking. According to elected Democrats and the news media they control, the President of the United States is working to eliminate the U.S. mail. Now, Trump isn't closing the post office. That would require an amendment to the Constitution. No, it's far worse than that and much sneakier. Trump is stealing the mailboxes, driving through Democratic neighborhoods in the middle of the night, tossing them in the back of his station wagon, cackling like the madman he is, or having his lackeys do it. Either way, the effect is the same. With no mailboxes, Democrats won't be able to vote. Donald Trump is stealing the election. And here's the thing. Democrats can't call to complain about it. It turns out that someone took all the payphones, too. Can you imagine? Apparently, Joe Biden read all about this on Facebook or some website whose name he can't remember. But it was all there. Biden was so upset he almost snarfed his Metamucil. He was still ranting about it during a virtual fundraiser on Friday, as he told the crowd, quote, "They're going around literally with tractor trailers picking up mailboxes. You ought to go online and check out what they're doing in Oregon. I mean, it's bizarre." Got that? Literally.
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Democracy. Stealing mailboxes, says Al Gore, is nothing less than Trump putting his knee on the neck of democracy. The blood is draining from America's face. We are fast losing consciousness. As you can imagine, this caught the media's attention. Without pausing to see if it was true, they rushed to their cameras to repeat it.
Essential sorting machines removed, blue mailboxes literally hauled away on flatbed trucks.
Mailboxes being picked up and stacked up. What's that about other than voter suppression?
They're seeing some of their mailboxes in their communities uprooted. That's a problem.
People are worried about the post office. You're seeing, the mailboxes being taken away. Can we vote? What's going on?
The removal of mailboxes, the removal of equipment within the postal offices and the rest is to undermine the Postal Service at a time when the Postal Service is needed now more than ever.
Are you listening to this? They're literally hauling away mailboxes on flatbed trucks. And Phil Rucker of the Washington Post, for one, is not going to stand for it. Phil Rucker of the Washington Post thinks that disappearing mailboxes are a major problem. His boss, Nancy Pelosi, agrees with that.
We'll skip ahead a little bit here. So this is really talking about under Obama, the 12,000 mailboxes were removed. That they're referring to, right?
A 2017 report from the USPS Inspector General, for example, notes that the Postal Service has removed 14,000 mailboxes over the preceding 5 years. This has been going on since at least 2009. 2009 was the same year, by the way, that Barack Obama, who presided over this horrific mass mailbox removal, delivered the following assessment of the U.S. mail.
People say, well, how can a private company compete against the government? If you think about it, UPS and FedEx are doing just fine, right? No, they are. I mean, it's the post office that's always having problems.
Wait, what? Did you hear that? Talk about an unexpected twist. Ladies and gentlemen, the great mailbox conspiracy of 2020 turns out to be bigger and more complex than we realized. Barack Obama is in on it too. Don't tell Susan Rice. So what is this really about in real life? Well, last week, the president refused to hand over $3.5 billion to the Postal Service in recent stimulus negotiations. That was money that would go toward mail-in voting. This is what they're mad about. That was a blow to one of Nancy Pelosi's top priorities. Democrats favor mail-in voting. Democrats favor any form of voting that does not entail actual voters going to actual polling places. They refer to this as, quote, ballot access, like it's a civil rights issue. It is not a civil rights issue. Votes cast by mail are easier to tamper with. The identities of the voters who cast them are harder to verify. Mail-in voting makes voter fraud easier. That's why we haven't had a lot of it throughout American history, and that's why Democrats are for it. And we have seen fraud. There's no mail-in voter fraud. That's a lie. Just in the past few months, for example, a postal worker in West Virginia pleaded guilty to altering mail-in ballots. 4 men in New Jersey stand accused of fraud after the USPS found hundreds of ballots in a single mailbox in a local city council election. In Clark County, Nevada, more than 200,000 mail-in votes from the recent primary election have been declared undeliverable. Those are local and statewide elections.
Okay, I think we get the picture here. So let's just a little conversation about what Tucker is discussing here. So we have the Democrats pushing this agenda of mail box ballots, right? So we're basically going to get all ballots by mail, right? Like as though this has been like the thing that's been happening for our whole lives. Yes, there is absentee voting, which you can go and you can apply and you can show your ID and you can get them to mail you a ballot. You're on a list and it goes to your address that you say. If that's not what we're talking about massive amounts of ballots just flooding the streets. People can pick them up and put anything they want on them and then give them to people that are harvesting ballots. And even those people that may be going around and harvesting unfilled out ballots could just fill them in and it'd be considered a regular vote. This is not legitimate. This is a way of corrupting the election cycle. So this is their side of things. They want to push anything that can be fraudulent, right, about the mail-in ballot system. So that's one thing we have to deal with. So let me move over, unless we're going to talk, flip right over to Trump, actually also. Now this is just from the day before. So we're just going to keep up with things here. This is all happening now, right?
So can you explain how you are sabotaging the Postal Service?
Yeah, well, no, I'm just making it good. We have a very, very good business guy running it. And I want to I jokingly say, but it's true, I want to make the post office great again, okay? The post office lost $78 billion over a very short period of time. Think of it, over the last 10, 12 years, something like that. 78 billion with a B, billion. And we're making it so it is going to be good. And we're going to take care of our postal workers above all. We're not firing people, but the way they ran that thing for many years, this isn't a Trump thing. There was a big editorial by you-know-who over the weekend. This isn't a Trump thing. This has been one of the disasters of the world, the way it's been run. It's been run horribly, and we're going to make it good. Now, what am I supposed to do? Let it continue to run badly? So if you fix it, they say, oh, he's tampering with the election. No, we're not tampering. First of all, absentee ballots, like in Florida, those are great things. You send for it, you ask for it, they send it to you, you send it back with your vote. Those are great things. Universal ballots, where they drop millions of ballots into a community, into a state, like New Jersey is doing now. It's going to be a disaster. Look at Nevada, what's going on over there. It's going to be a disaster. No signature verification. You can bundle up. They call it harvest. I mean, harvesting is illegal in most places, and they're letting you harvest. It's going to be a disaster. And just one thing, take a look at what happened in New York, disaster. Patterson, New Jersey, disaster. Virginia, disaster. It's a disaster what's going on. They can't count the ballots. They don't know where the ballots are being sent. Yes.
One follow-up to that is, do you think part of this is because Nancy Pelosi has been unable to get her very expensive, I think, $3.5 trillion coronavirus bill passed. But in that bill is $25 billion for the Postal Service to make sure they've got the resources. Although the Postal Service has put out in financial statements that they've got enough money to run through next year, summer of next.
So now we see what we have is Trump is laying it out, right? He's saying, listen, the post office is not functional as a business entity. It's losing money left and right. And usually there's some bailout package that Congress pushes through to cover up all the holes. Now, Trump put in a new Postmaster General. First thing he does is start cleaning up, right? And says, oh, look, we're not using so many letters anymore. Everyone's using email. You pay bills by mail anymore? No, nobody does that. Well, some people do, but less and less. And so people are paying for online. So all that mail is not going through the system anymore. And so they have started eliminating some machines. So that's why Nancy Pelosi is like upset. So because they're trying to push this, where the letter size voting ballot is going to be moving through the mail. And so you could say that this was a plan by Trump because he knew what was going to go on, and I wouldn't doubt that for a moment, that was something as a counter move. So, the post office is just not going to be sitting around counting these kind of ballots, and it's not legitimate anyway from Trump's point of view. So, all right, so let's go to the next one here. I'm closing my windows as I go, so that we can see. That's not the one I want. Sorry. It's just. Over to the post office, what's going on here. So this is from Forbes. So I initially got the story coming from X22. He mentions it, and I started looking into it. So U.S. Postal Service counters Trump attack on mail-in voting with a new blockchain patent. Now you see the spin on this already coming. So it's the post office fighting Trump as a Trump attacking the mail-in ballot. So, well, this is. Do you think that this is something that Trump didn't know was going to be happening? This patent was filed in February. So. As the news of Trump trying to shut down the U.S. Postal Service, install the mail-in voting. Now, how's this even in Forbes? Trump is not trying to shut down the Postal Service. He never said he wants to shut it down. He wants it to run efficiently, right? So they're restructuring it. So and basically install the mail-in voting capture headline. So I guess we're talking about the headlines here, but that's true. So U.S. Patent and Trademark Office today made public a patent application from the U.S. Postal Service titled Secure Voting System that describes using blockchain technologies to secure mail-in voting. The application is reported as filed on February 7th, 2020, and the invention is described as a voting system that can be used the security of the blockchain and the mail to provide a reliable voting system. A registered voter receives a computer readable code, and the mail it confirms identity and confirms the correct ballot information in an election. The system separates voter identification and votes to ensure that vote anonymity and stores the vote on its distributed ledger in the blockchain. So stores it in a database is what there's really saying. So a distributed ledger is we're just talking about a database. Let's get another little perspective on this coming from. This is actually a crypto news site, ZY Crypto. The U.S. Postal Office patents a novel blockchain-backed mail-in voting system. The United States presidential election is slated for November 3rd, 2020. With an ongoing pandemic, most citizens will vote via mail. However, President Donald Trump has long been opposed to the idea of mail-in voting. He has maintained that it will encourage voting fraud and that it will likely favor his opponent, Joe Biden. He even blocked funds for the United States Postal Service that would help the mail-in voting. So first of all, this patented system that they published, it's not ready. This mail-in system is not ready. So that's one thing to be aware of. It's the patent even is not issued yet. And coming up with the actual blockchain and that is going to take years of development. Okay, the immutable nature of the blockchain technology, the tech that underpins Bitcoin, could make mail-in voting more secure and trustworthy. The U.S. U.S. Postal Service has filed a patent with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for mail-in voting system that will utilize blockchain technology. The patent was initially filed in February this year, but the United States Patent and Trademark only published it earlier this week. The described voting system will have a built-in identification properties. In essence, voters will receive a computer-readable code via mail. The voter will then confirm his or her identity as well as the ballot information while voting digitally. The proposed system will separate voters' identity from the votes to maintain anonymity. Moreover, the votes will be stored securely and distributed later on the blockchain. The patent application also includes illustrations that elaborate more about the blockchain-based voting system. So anyway, it's a 47-page patent. I actually did download this. I'm going to go through it and read it. Just as to say, although the blockchain-related patent applications are renowned, companies are nothing new. United States Postal Service provides yet another evidence of growing interest in blockchain technology. Time will tell exactly in what form. Okay, so here we have. This was the X-22 report. I'll just play about a minute of this, and that'll wrap up the information about it.
I believe he has a trump card, and what's very interesting is something came out today which seems feasible, and it might work. Now, am I saying that they're going to go with this? Maybe, maybe not. But the United States Postal Service just filed a patent for a blockchain-based secure voting system. Now, that's very odd. Now, this was filed February 7th, 2020 for a secure voting system that uses blockchain access layers. A voting system can use the security of blockchain and the mail to provide a reliable voting system. The patent application says, a registered voter receives a computer-readable code in the mail and confirms identity and confirms correct ballot information in an election. The system separates voter identification and votes to ensure voter anonymity and stores votes on a distributed ledger in a blockchain. Voters generally wish to be able to vote for elected official or on other issues in a manner that is convenient and secure. Equally as interesting is that the patent itself is the fact that the application was filed before the coronavirus had wreaked total havoc on the country and long before the idea of mail-in voting. February 7th. And it was just unveiled now. Now, this is very interesting because this combines mailing a ballot and voter ID and blockchain, and it hides your identity. Now that is very interesting. Is this what Trump is going to use to counter their entire argument? Well, we'll have to wait and see. There might be.
Well, I would say that's likely. I think that's what we're really seeing here. That we're gonna see that Trump is going to make an executive order and basically say that the mail-in ballot system as is not to be used, but that there will be voter ID, and with that we'll have the post office issuing the way for you to mail in a ballot and for you to also be registered digitally, right? And then the mail-in ones can be now cross-referenced or basically tallied separately than the digitally tallied, automatically tallied in the blockchain. So the blockchain technology is a way of storing information. So you can define what that information is. In this case, it could be the literal name Donald J. Trump and vote yes, or Biden and vote yes. Right? Whatever that information is, it could be a whole proposition, could be written out and put on the blockchain, and you could be replying with yes, no. Right? And so this information is stored and it was always there and not changeable. Now, if you put that with a voter ID, and you can use these keys to identify you to actually see your vote on the blockchain. I mean, you have the key, you get to see your vote on the blockchain. Everyone else can see all of the votes, but nobody knows which vote you did because you're the only one that has the key to find where your vote is. It's in the mix with everyone else's votes. So in the browsers, what they call the blockchain browsers, you're able to look into the block. Okay, look into that block. What do I see? Oh, there's a vote for Trump, another for Trump, another one for Trump, another one for Trump, another one for Trump, another one for Trump, another one. Oh, where there's none for Biden? Oh, then we go to the next block. You look in these blocks and you see what data is held there. Now, again, finding your vote would only require you to have your key, all right, to find where it's sitting. It's kind of like a URL in a web page, right? You want to find that particular web page, you click on it, and you go right back to it. Sometimes you get a link from your utility company in your email. It says, click here to pay. And it takes you to that page to pay your bill. Same kind of thing. That is your key. No one else has your key. You have your key because you're the one that did the vote. And when you did the vote, it went. And so maybe you have a barcode snap on your cell phone. Actually, Kim was bringing up a voting system that used the cell phones through text messaging, right? Everyone has so it's a good idea, right? So I'm sure that the blockchain technology for reading the barcode that's going to be on the ballot that you're going to fill out, right, is going to see what's there. Maybe you scan your ballot. Maybe you do the voting on the phone and on the paper. Maybe you write it on the paper and you snap the photo and it takes all the votes and gets you a tally and you get to put that and secure that onto the blockchain. Haven't read the patent yet, but many things can be done to secure the information and keep your privacy. So this is all valid. This can be done. There is a way to keep you private, keep it secure, and to keep others that are not supposed to be voting from voting. So I think that that's what we're going to see from Trump. I think that's the direction we're going, and we need something like that. Because we're now experiencing some other things. So let me bring up another page here. Switch back over. It's going pretty slow. This is actually the patent, but that's not what I wanted to show you. So this is Lindsay Lohan, who is basically running for election, and this is a primary election that's going on right now. August 16th is 2 days before the election, which would be on August 18th. So it's happening right now. So this was from 2 days ago. It's just under 4 minutes. So let's watch the whole thing here.
Hey everybody, Laura Loomer here. So as you can see, it is 11:13 at night on Sunday, August 16th. Okay, everybody sees this. You see the time, you see the date, August 16th. The primary election in Florida is August 18th. We are about 48 hours away from the election. Polls open on the 18th, which is a Tuesday, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., okay? Internal polling data shows that majority of the Republican voters in District 21 are planning on voting on Election Day, which is August 18th, as I just said. So, I would like to know why election results are already being reported if the election is 48 hours away from now. And you may be asking yourselves, well, what do you mean? Why are the election results already being reported? I'll show you. So, one of the local news stations here in Palm Beach County where I'm running for Congress is CBS 12. So let's go to their news station, okay? CBS 12 News. Here's their news page. Here's the drop-down bar, okay? Scroll down. News, okay? What does that say? It says election results, okay? So we're on the CBS 12 News website. We click the news tab bar, and now we're going to click election results. When you click election results, oh, wow, it says 100% of precincts reporting. They already have the election called. They're already reporting the results of the Florida primary on August 18th, 48 hours prior to the primary even taking place. This is not okay. This is beyond fake news. This is a form of voter suppression and election interference. It's criminal. If you scroll down to the race in District 21 where I'm running for Congress, it shows me as receiving 2% of the vote, okay, and it already has all of the races called with my opponents ahead of me. How is this possible if voters haven't even voted yet? Technically speaking, even if the absentee ballots had come in and early voting had come in, you're not allowed to legally open up ballots until Election Day. So we already ran the numbers to see, because you can see from the supervisor's office how many ballots and how many votes have been casted, and it's way less than the total number of votes that are listed here in CBS 12 News, their total calculation of the election results prior to the election even happening. So this is egregious. My campaign and I contacted CBS News 12 and we asked to speak to the news director. We spoke to the assignment desk and they called the news director, and the news director is refusing to take this down, and he's also refusing to speak to me and refusing to speak to my strategist, Karen Giorno. So they are aware that they are suppressing voters. They are aware that they are committing election fraud. They are aware that they are perpetuating fake news and causing people to think that the election is over 48 hours before the election takes place, but they don't care. Because this is what they want. Because if they actually cared and they didn't want to report fake news, then they would delete this, because it's obvious fake news and it's criminal voter suppression. So I just want all of you to see this, because when CBS tries to spin this in the magical way that they come up with in their PR room, they're going to try to say that this is some type of test. But logically speaking, if you were going to have a test ahead of Election Day, wouldn't you use fake names? Or wouldn't you have a test that was private within your own system so that only your employees could see it? Why would you make the election results public for the entire district to see prior to the election taking place? This is fraud, and someone's going to get sued over this. Mark my word.
Okay, let's
Hey
start.
everybody, Laura Loomer here. So as you...
Lori Loomer. So there we go. So why do we need to really address not just the voting system, right, but also the media and how they're reporting on it, and how bogus is it that we keep getting all these polls where they're underrating one of the sides, right? They don't, it's like, 80-20, right? As bad as that. 80% Democrat, 20% Republican. Let's say and you're not likely voters, you're just registered, and you're already in a database and you're profiled on how you're going to vote, and then they just call. And so they predetermine what they want the result to be, and they choose those people, and then they put it out there. So, oh, look, we did a poll. Is that legitimate? No. That's criminal. Criminal behavior by the fake news media. And that has to stop. So we have been attacked. Our foundations of our democracy, our republic, our government, our people have all been attacked by this system of obfuscating what's really going on, by the ones that are trying to change the government and remove the constitutional rights, the God-given rights. They want to basically change the whole system. And they're doing it through this subversion, infiltration, and it's systemic. It is a system of creating new systems. When I was, I voted most of my life. I voted in California, and I saw a lot of Republican governors and mayors come through, and there was always good times, and it was very obvious to see when the Republicans were in office, the economies were doing well, the cities were being run well, and things were going. When the Democrats get in charge, all these bogus types of information come about, and they label these things as, they always point and say the other guys are bad guys while they're doing bad things. And then started seeing that no more Republicans were being elected. I mean, like, really, I mean, like, it was like across the board. I said, what's going on here? It's like everything is getting worse and worse, and people keep voting for the same thing. It's obvious that the whole system was corrupted. The whole system was put into a way of which they were only going to systematically remove Republicans from ever getting any elections in California. Couldn't win any of them. And to the point where this last year, they actually removed Republicans from the options of what you're going to like register as a particular party. The Republican wasn't even listed, right? So this is fraudulent across the board, and we have to take it on a nationwide. And so I'm glad that something is happening. I do think that this move was happened under Trump. I don't think it was something that was just that came up just this year. I think this is part of the plan, as they knew what they were going to be doing. They haven't just started talking about this ballot harvesting and mass printing of ballots just this year. They've been doing this and pushing for it for a long time. All the breadcrumbs are there. Everyone can see what's been going on. Now it's time for us to actually do something about it. And so we have a good leader there that's making those steps. So Trump is there. He's leading the way. We have to support his efforts. So we have to get out the vote. We have to vote across the board, Republican. Doesn't matter, you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. This time we just vote all Republican, and then we hold the Republicans' feet to the fire. Can't do it on the other side. It doesn't work. And it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about American. It's about freedom. It's about creating a better world. And America will lead the way, because it's the only country that has been built to do it. It's the only one. So I think that's good for today. Thank you for joining, and I also thank you for the past donations. And again, please do what you can right now, even the small amounts. A bunch of small amounts would do it as well. I have had a couple of donations of $100 this month, and that really helped. It all went for food, really. So I appreciate everything that everyone's been doing, and I am really touched by how I've been supported by people, and even in the project in the Gold Green Coin, everything was fine until COVID just dragged them down, and they couldn't move anymore. So this project is not over. We are going to be expanding. I've got some conversations with some people